Hi everyone. Oh my god, it's been a minute. I know. I know. I think the last time I posted on here was like my wrap up for October. Or was it November? I think it was October actually. Cause I actually already filmed for November, but the craziest thing happened. Storage issues, blah blah blah. I'm not gonna bore you with all of that, but I had to scrap that. And I know you guys are rolling your eyes like, you lying. But why would I lie? I don't like unnecessary lies. I'm not that person. But yeah, so instead of doing for December as well, I was just like, you know what? Let me just do like a video that will just talk about my favorite books for the year, which I've been meaning to do for like the longest time, but dreading it because there's gonna be like a lot of books. And I liked a lot of books, but I just have to do it now. I have no choice. No more excuses. I'm just gonna give it my best and just like let you guys know how my year, has been. I'd actually finished recording a whole video. It was so long. Oh my god. But then I realized that my microphone was actually dead. So no audio. Like if I don't laugh, I will cry. But that just means I have to talk all over again. And I'm always down to talk. I'm always down to talk. I'm crying within my soul. Oh my god. So I'm just like just remind me that I need to keep looking at the camera light, the microphone light, just to make sure that it's actually on. Yeah. I'm just gonna go straight into it. No preamble, no, you know, hellos and how are yous, because I'm gonna assume that you guys are fine and you assume that I'm fine as well. So like let's just go into it. The first Okay, I have 20 books on my list. 20, and they're divided into like the different categories of books I read. We have historical romance, contemporary romance. We have the romantasy. You already know that I love anything romance, so you know, you know that no matter what I read, romance, at least give me a splash, maybe a splash, just sprinkle it on it. It doesn't have to be the entire story, but just give me something, to hold on to. They don't even have to end up together, but just like give me something, something. Anyways, I'm just gonna go straight into it. The first one we have The Bride by Julie Garwood. This is under the historical romance. And guys, I remember reading this. This was recommended to me by one of my friends. You see the way I'm talking fast? I had to tell you that I'm already anxious and I can't wait to get this over with. Oh my god. You can do this, Taya. You can do this. Whew. Anyway, The Bride by Julie Garwood. This was such a beautiful book. It's um if I want to recommend this, I'll say listen to the audio because I know that's what gripped me the most about this book because it was narrated by one person, but the way she switched her accent when she was in the POV of the killer was so beautiful, and I know that's what gripped me the first time I listened to it. I was like, oh my god, that was so nice. So yeah, that I love that so much. If you're interested in reading something, reading historical romance, but with a little bit of suspense, like the suspense wasn't strong. I'm not gonna say it was really strong because I know it got when I got into the book, I was like, oh, can we just, I already know who the killer is at this point. Or did I? I think I did. I think I did. To be fair, I think I did. But yeah, it was so fun. It was really nice. I enjoyed it. Listen to the audio, please. I do a lot of immersive reading when I read. That is, I listen to audio and I read as well. So I'm following as I'm listening to the audio. So a lot of times I can have my audio in like three times speed. So like now I'm even testing out four times speed. Am I a psychopath? I don't know. I don't know, but I like I just up it. I test it out. So a lot of times when you go to four times speed and you go back to three times speed now sounds slow. But yeah, I love immersive reading. So I don't miss anything. I don't miss out on anything. So I'm following it as the narrator is reading it. You get me? You get me. So You can see the way I keep looking at the microphone because I just don't want. I'm tired of stories that touch. I'm just tired. I'm over it. Like I'm so over it. Anyways, the second one is Kiss Me Annabelle. Kiss Me Annabelle was such a beautiful time. Like I had such a beautiful time reading it. Like before I recorded this, I had to listen to my voice note when I was reading it because I left some voice note based on the book, and I was like, "Oh my god, I remember it was actually so good." So this is the second book in the whole series. Mind you, I didn't really like the first book. I didn't really like the first book, but I really liked the second book. And I think the reason why I like the second book is if you don't know, we are all girls, my family as well, and I'm the second born, and Annabelle is also the second born. And I think that's one way I resonated with her. And there were so many parts about her that I just resonated with. She knew what she wanted. She because she grew up poor, she had to take charge. She really took charge of their accounting, of their money, and at a very young age. So she knew that she wanted to marry someone rich. She didn't want to settle in that aspect because she has suffered and she just did not want to suffer. And I love that. It's not necessarily that like I resonated with it per se, but I love a woman that knows what she wants and does not want to settle for anything less. And you know that's what I feel like that's one aspect of the book that I really liked. And there was this other aspect where she she had to learn how to seduce, because obviously to bag a guy you need to know how to walk up the charm. And basically she knew how to walk up her charms. Like she knew her angles basically. And what happened, or was that when the guy that she ended up with claimed that he was in love with her, she doubted it. She was like, "Are you sure you're in love with me, or you just desire me? Because I train or I've trained myself to be desirable, like desirable. That was soft. Because I've trained myself to be desirable. You get it? So are you sure you're in love with me, or do you just desire me? Because there's a difference that you might not be able to tell the difference." And I love that. I love that because a lot of people can't tell the difference between lust and love, and it's not no fault to them or anything like that. But I can see that being an issue, especially back then. How fast things how fast things were or whatever. And when one thing I like about my historical romance, or why I like historical romance, I usually like them as palette cleansers when I finish reading a huge fantasy book or whatever. One thing I like about historical romance is that um they're just a way to escape reality, in the sense that they really dive into seduction, into romance, into the romance aspect of love, where because it's at a time where things are not as fast. I don't want to say they are not as fast paced, because they are technically fast paced, but where the man has to do more work when it comes to talking about his feelings and his emotions, as to know words to use, because I'm really big on words. And that I find that to be very mesmerizing. Yeah, I love that. Yeah, the next one, which is the last one on my historical romance, is Half a Soul. This I would say as a note of fantasy, but the fantasy wasn't heavy. It was more so for me historical romance, because it was a cozy read, in my opinion. It was very cozy. It was very short. Most of these historical romance books are very short. They are not deep. They are not that crazy. Do you get it? It's just something that you can read. They are palette cleansers. They're just something you can read and have fun with it while you're reading it. And so yeah, see the way I've lost my voice. That's to tell you that I recorded an entire content. Ah, you know what? I'm not one to dwell on my past. I'm just gonna move on from it. Let's move on. So yeah, Alpha Soul, like I was saying, it's really good. It's about a girl, right, at a young age. Um, a face stole like half a soul, right? So the part of our soul that the face stole is the one that can feel emotions, the one that can basically feel emotions, that can understand emotions and all of that. So now she's like, who can I liken it to? I want to say Sherlock, but that sounds too. It's not like, but she's more intellectual, more like more like Sherlock in that aspect, or should we say Sheldon, in Big Bang Theory. So more like that, if you want to liken it to. And I love that. I love smart people. So yeah, I love that. It's just like Reed as well in Criminal Minds. So I'm just mentioning smart people. Yeah, I love that. So I love that character almost immediately. And the main guy has powers, and it was gonna help her get her soul back so she can be, you know, she can have a full soul together, blah blah blah. And we just saw them fall in love, get to know each other, and the whole process of trying to find our other half, our other soul. It was such a beautiful read, such a fun time. Nothing too deep, nothing too crazy. I would say the world building wasn't like, oh my god, the most fleshed out thing, but it was beautiful. If you're there for romance, you get your feel. Okay, okay. Now, moving on. Now, let's talk about my suspense romance. I have just one year, and if you've watched my previous video, you know that I love it. It's Stealing Shadows. I love Stealing Shadows. It was the perfect balance of romance and suspense, in my opinion. It caught me off guard, even because I didn't expect to like it as much as I did, but I did. It was just like, and I think I liked it as well. I liked it also because it had a splash of like paranormal, like psychic element. I don't know if it's under paranormal or supernatural or whatever power, whatever it is. So it had that, and I loved a little bit of power in my box. So that was beautiful. I had such a fun time. The romance was beautiful. The suspense also was awesome. I love the suspense as well. It just felt good. It felt well balanced, in my opinion. Everything was just balanced. Nothing outshined the other. Okay, so let's move on. You see, I'm trying to like be quick because 20 books. You see, beans. Oh my god. Okay, so now the next one. This two books are under dark romance. We have the first one is Butcher and Blackbird. I don't know if it's the Butcher and the Blackbird or Butcher and the Blackbird, whatever, but it's just Butcher and Blackbird. I love this so much. And I always say, when it comes to dark romance for me, I always say that I just go into it to have a fun time. I'm not trying to be overly critical. I'm just going in to have a fun time. Do you get? And I do have a line that I don't cross when it comes to my dark romance. I like when my dark romances, like the main character, the female character, the main lead, they have obvious like consent. I don't like when it's not explicitly clear that the female is not down, the female lead is not down for whatever the male lead is doing. I don't like that. Like, I draw the line in that. It's just bordering on like on I just you get what it's bordering on. I don't like I just don't like it. So I draw the line with that. And but the butcher and the black bear was just something that I feel like they really tiptoed on the line perfectly. It was just a fun time, nothing too deep. Two serial killers literally after going after other serial killers. Like, that's why they are serial killers, because they are killing other serial killers. And they just had a competition between each other. It was just beautiful. I just finished one this morning that gave me the same vibe of what Black Butcher and Blackbird gave me. Light Out. Oh, see, if you want to listen to Light Out, this is like a bonus. If you want to listen to Light Out, please. I want to say if you want to read Light Out, but if you want to read Light Out, please let it be the audiobook. Let it be that, because it was so good. The voice, the narrators for Light Out was just so good. I could forgive anything, anything with those voices. It was so beautiful. So I would recommend you listening to the audio. And I think it's the same guy narrator that actually narrated for Butcher and Blackbird. I'm not sure because I read Butcher and Blackbird. I didn't actually listen to the audio, but I think I heard that it's the same narrator. So I would advise you to listen to it as well if you want to. So yeah, I love a good narrator, and I like when for dark romance you're just having fun, like just playing around, nothing too like that. I'm getting like me as a reader, I'm just getting uncomfortable. Like, did she say she wants that? I don't. Fuck. Hello, guys. I know, guys. Do you know how many times I've said hello, hello, hello? It's been like I think 4 times today. Just as I don't know. I don't want to say as bad vibes, but things have just been happening to me. But I refuse to let it stop me from recording this content because I'm just over it. But you know what? I'm just gonna keep pushing. Breathe in, breathe out, kind of thing, and I will not let something stop me because now my neighbor has decided to start making noise, but I'm not going to let that stop me. I'm going to keep pushing. So let's move. The next one on the dark romance list is the Mindfuck series. This series caught me off guard. Like it was so good. I don't know. I keep saying something is so good, but it's actually was actually so good. It was pretty much a fast read. I think the first book is like 100 pages thereabout. Yeah, it was very quick. The girl is a killer, but and the guy is an FBI agent, and I'm all for that. To be honest, that's like my what not killer. I wanted to say that I love a good FBI book, and this read like that. I love that. I love that. It really just fed my soul. I like a good revenge also, and this really also fed that aspect of my soul where it really gave that she got the revenge that she was entitled to. I loved everything about that. Let's move on. Nothing, I don't want anything to waste my time. Nothing. Oh my god, what's the next one? What should we go to? Let's do this category. This category is just more like I just added more like feel good books that can be like you can label them as like fantasy books, YA, just like feel good books. I always say that it's so important to have fun when you're reading. When you're not having fun when you're reading and it feels like you're being overly critical, that just feels like it just takes the fun out of everything. Why not just have fun? I mean, there's one book that is going around right now, the Little Life, My Little Life, something like that. I don't know. And I've been avoiding that book like a plague because every time I see someone reading it, they're always crying. And I don't want to say I'm an empath, but I am. I not an empath in the sense, but more like things stick with me, especially like if the thing is like bad. Like I'll just go days crying. I'm just not. I don't want that right now in my life. Like there are too many things to pinpoint right now to get me to cry. I don't need an extra thing. You get? So yeah. I stay away from those types of books. And this category is just about, feel good. Just, have fun with it. Don't be overly critical. Don't try to add to understand what the writer is saying. Just go with it. Follow the writer where the writer is taking you. You get me? Yeah. So the first one on the list is Strain the Dreamer. Oh my god, guys, this one was like it was so good. It actually caught me off guard. I love when a book can catch me off guard because especially if I'm going into it expecting to be like bored, and it just grips me like, oh my god, you didn't tell me that it's gonna be this good. And right now, why did I say right now? And it's actually really good. So because I have like voice notes of when I was reading the book that I left, and one thing I noted or that I feel like I noted was I was talking about how like the book really taught me how our self-esteem is based on how other people perceive us. So we base our self-esteem based on other people perception. And what happens when other people can perceive you? So what happens to your esteem then? Do you have low self-esteem? How do you determine your value, your worth then? It was actually a phenomenal book, right? Just take my word for it, okay? Please, at least for what I've been through to record this content, please just take my word for it. It was a beautiful book. Please read it. I have so many pages highlighted in this book because there are just so many things that were said that I was just like, oh my god, that's so deep. I love that. And it also reminded me of like this book I'm currently reading. I'm reading On Love by, I don't want to butcher his name, so I'm not even going to try it. But the book is so beautiful, and I'm just taking my sweet time reading it. Because if there's one thing about me, I love reading a fiction. Sorry, I love reading nonfiction when I feel like I'm learning something. One of the reasons why I avoid nonfiction is I always feel like you're not teaching me anything. Like you're just repeating yourself over and over, and that just doesn't entice me. So one of the books that really did it for me was Dopamine Nation. I really love Dopamine Nation because I study psychology. I feel like I keep saying that, but when you study the course that you love, so I studied psychology and I really resonated or I liked it a lot because it really delved into, addiction and how we're living in a basically a world where it's feeding into our addiction, is making us addicted to different things. Like you don't need to be addicted to one thing to be you don't need to be addicted to drugs, right? You can be addicted to other things as well that you don't even realize that you're addicted to. Anyways, that's not even the one I want to talk about. I want to talk about the one I'm currently reading On Love. I love a good love, whatever. And this book, it kind of borders on, I want to say, fiction and non-fiction, but I feel like it leans more on the non-fiction than on the non. What am I saying? I feel like it leans more on the non-fiction than it leans to the fiction aspect of it, and I really love it. I have so many pages highlighted on the book because it just explains so much. One of the things I really love about it, you can see the way I'm just sidelining. I'm just yapping about something completely different from what we are talking about. But please let me yap. I deserve this. Oh, anyways, one of the things I really like about this book is it talks about how you can't love someone to love themselves, right? When a person tells you that they are not worthy of your love, believe them, whether they're a girl, boy, whatever. If they tell you that they are not worthy of your love, believe them because you can't love them to love themselves, basically. Like, do you get? And it just shows you how a person that feels like they're unworthy of love from the beginning of when the person is falling in love to like when the person figures out that the other person that they love loves them back, and like the whole process of it. And I find it to be so fascinating because it just explains so much about how um a person how how, how a person's self-worth really determines a lot when it comes to love dynamic, or the dynamic in a relationship. Because if a person keeps telling you that I feel unworthy of your love, there's no way you want to love them. In fact, they will start doubting you. That I'm doubting your judgment. Why do you love me like that? Maybe you're not as good as I thought you were. So it just was is actually a beautiful book, and I'm obsessed with it right now. I don't know how it will end. It might end badly, but right now I'm currently obsessed. So what was I saying? Huh. What was I saying actually? I think I was talking about, oh yeah, Strange the Dreamer. Strange the Dreamer was actually a beautiful book, and the main girl had to go into different, she has the power to go into dreams. So in order to like be perceived, she had to go into different dreams to really feel like herself being perceived, because that's the only way she could be seen. Oh, it was beautiful, honestly. You can literally take your own meaning from whatever you want to take it, but that's what I took from it. I took different things, to be honest. I can't really remember, and I don't want to. But it was really good. Excuse me, I keep looking at the microphone because I don't want stories that. Anyways, next we have The Unmaking of June Farrow. This was also another book that caught me off guard. Did it? I don't think it caught me off guard. I actually expected perfection, and I experienced perfection reading it because I know the writer. I'd read a previous book. I've forgotten the name, but I know I enjoyed it really well. And I know the issue I had with this book that I would have to say is it takes a while to get into. So if you can forgive that, you would have a swell time, because our previous book too, that was the same issue I had. It took a while for me to get into it, but once I got into it, I was obsessed. So yeah, she did time travel the way I like time travel to be done. Just sprinkle. You don't try to add. The moment you try to add, that's the moment I start having questions. You're doing too much. Like I'm like, that makes no sense. No, 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 no. Don't gaslight me. That makes no sense. In fact, I don't even really like time travel in my TV shows. The only TV show I've seen so far that has done time travel well, complicated, and I feel like, oh, you did it well, has been like Dark. I don't know if you guys have seen Dark. Dark is so beautiful, really good, and Timeless. I love those two TV shows. Those are my like go-to time travel TV shows that I'll be like, yeah, they did it well. So I don't really like it in my books, except you can don't, because a lot of times they always try to overcomplicate things. Then I start like you start making me, it starts to make me question my intelligence. I'm like, that makes no sense. And I don't want to overanalyze your book. But now you're putting me in a position where I have to overanalyze the book. And I hate it. So this one did not do that. She made it so simple. The time travel element, I feel like it was very simple. It was not, she didn't complicate it. And the romance was so beautiful as well. It was so sweet. I loved it. Loved every moment of it. Yeah, recommend. Highly recommend. Go read it. Okay. Next one, Bride by Ali Izold. I don't know if I'm pronouncing her name well, but you already know her. Like this book, I devoured it. I devoured it completely. That's how much I loved it. I like a book that the guy is outrightly obsessed with the girl. Don't give room to doubt in my mind as the reader. Let me just know. And I think it's like double POV, so that helped me. That helped wonderfully. And because I like this so much, I know I had to read other books, and I read Love Hypothesis. I don't know why it took me so long to read it, but I don't know. I don't know why. But it was so good as well. I love my guys obsessed. It was so good. I devoured that as well. I read a new book that came out 2024, that Not in Love, I think. Yeah, that was also beautiful too. Just anything written by R. The only one I feel like I didn't like was one. See, I can't remember that one name. I think it was something about chess. That was dry. I skimmed a lot of that one. I didn't even like it, but that was like, sometimes writers have bad days. I'm easy to forgive as long as you keep giving me what I want. You get, so that was, just go read it. Thank you. The next one is, we have The Isles of the Gods. I know I've talked about this in my previous video. It's just a regular YA romance and a dash of fantasy. It was in all of these books I mentioned. Don't expect mad blowing world building magic system. Don't expect that. I said it in the beginning. You're just coming in for a fun time. Just enjoy yourself. Don't be overly critical. You're gonna have a fun time reading these books that I'm mentioning. Okay, you're welcome. Thank you. And so yeah, The Isles of the Gods, phenomenal book, very short. The second book in the series came out in 2024. Like I was gonna talk about how like the books that came out in 2024 were actually very disappointing. The ones that came out, not the ones that came out before 2024, the ones that came out 2024 are actually very disappointing. I was so disappointed. I'm like, what's going on? What's going on? Are publishers pushing these writers to, just put out put out their books because they were just so disappointing. Books I was looking forward to, I was just so disappointed. I'm like, what's going on? I don't want to really talk about the books I didn't like, because I don't want my channel to be about negatives. I want it to be more positive. I want it to be more about, books that I like. Because sometimes I watch some people's channels and they're just talking about books that they hate. And I'm like, oh, but what books should I read then? I'm here to get books that I need to put on my TBR. You get? So I want this channel to be very positive, just about books that I like. That's it. So yeah, The House of the Gods. If you're into YA, something simple, nothing too deep, this is the book for you. And the next one is One for My Enemy. I talked about this also in my previous book, in my previous video. This is the retelling of Romeo and Juliet. I've never been a fan of Romeo and Juliet, because I'm like, why are you dying for love? I said this also because I don't really get it. But this did it so well. I think the writing was also very beautiful. Beautiful. There are two major characters, in my opinion, that I feel like carried the book on their shoulders, that really did the book justice. And if not for them, that book might not have been good. And what made it work also was like we had multiple POVs. And that's what I always say. I feel like one of the reasons why a lot of my favorite romantices, especially, have been really good is because I'm not stuck in somebody's, in just one person's POV. So in case I don't like that person, I can have the chance to like meet other characters. I don't feel like I'm in bondage, stuck in this person, in this one person POV. Do you get me? I feel like you understand me. So I love a multiple POV book. I'm always going to be a fan of that. Yeah. Except you're lucky enough that you write one POV and you have a phenomenal character that just, like, I don't mind being stuck in, You get me? Yeah, you get me. Let's take it like you get me. The next one on my list is the one I read. I think I read it last 2024, last year, obviously. A Crow Taste. This was what I needed at that moment. It was so simple, so easy to get into. It was so uh I like so cozy. Was it really cozy? I don't know. Depends on what your definition of cozy is. But it felt cozy to me because I recently watched this movie. It's an old movie, Flipped, and how I felt while watching that movie, that sweet, adorable kind of love. That's how I felt while reading this. If you're expecting smart and all of that, this is not the book for you, obviously. This is not the book for you. It was very easy to get into. We have the guy's a vampire and the girl is a vampire killer. That kind of dynamic, which kind of brings me to um enemies to lover thing. I feel like I'll talk about it in a bit in a minute. But yeah, Crow Taste, if you're into something simple, if you're into like a short story, one and done kind of story, I don't have to get into the series. This is for you because it was just one and done, I hope. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, one and done. Then the next one is the Alcindea. I kind of put those two books in like the same category, but the Alcindea, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly. Don't sue me. The Alcindea leans more into horror, while A Crow Taste leans more into supernatural, paranormal, whatever vampire falls under. And yeah, because they kind of have like similar elements. If you read the book, you understand what I'm talking about. And yeah, it was so fun. The two books are beautiful. They did the romance really well. And I feel like the Alcinda had more splash of romance, but the Acrotaste had more like, was really like a YA romance, Yeah, whatever. Next one. Next one is, yeah, Atlas Hunter. This is where I'm going to talk about enemies to lovers. So Atlas Hunter is basically enemies to lovers, where the girl is a witch and the guy is a witch killer. Yeah, he hunts witches. Blah, this, the same this thing. I think something that's similar is this book, Serpent and Dove. I think that's what it's called. Yeah, that kind of has like similar vibe, right? And the one thing that I feel like, as much as these books are good, right? The one thing that I feel like these books fail to do is, when you make an enemy to enemy, I don't know the English to use. If the eight is too strong, especially from the guy part, because like I said, I love my men obsessed, especially from the guy part, I feel like, especially when it's a series, when you're doing a second book, I've seen that it's usually hard for writers um to come out of the enemy that they've written. Like, it's almost like they've written themselves into a box and they're like, oh, how do I free myself now? So that's what I've seen so far. It's like, there was this book by Jay Bray. I'm gonna put it up there. The first book was phenomenal, but the eighth was crazy, right? The eighth was very strong. The guy hated the girl, and the girl was like, whatever. She hated him too, but the eighth coming from the guy was absolutely crazy. And I kept saying that. I kept thinking, how will the writer come out of this? How are you going to justify? Are you going to make the guy come out of this aids, like it will require major groveling, on his part, especially because it's a series. It will require major groveling. Like you can do it well, but I know that a lot of times they don't do it well. Which is one of the reasons why Serpent and Dove, in my opinion, the second book just fell flat because it's just had to come out of that, because a lot of times when he's like when the ache that the guy has is intertwined with his belief system, then you now see a guy that is having cognitive dissonance, is having such difficulty even coming into terms with the fact that he likes this girl, and I don't want to read that. I don't actually want to read that. I want my man to be sure that he loves this girl and want to do anything for her, But yeah, that book written by Jay Bree. The second book in the series came out 2024, and it fell flat. It was just terrible because she just couldn't bring him out of that age. And even when she brought him out, it felt too fast. It felt like he didn't grovel enough. This Atlas Hunter has similar aspect in the sense that there was a part where he had to get her naked to see if she had marks on her body, because when in this universe, witches, when they do spells, it leaves marks on their body, right? So he literally like had to get her naked, and to get her naked, they had to sleep with her. Like it was just like borders on like, that's kind of weird. I don't know. I don't know if I like that. But aside from that, it's good. Usually, the enemies to lovers, the first books are always like good. I've like because I know I liked Serpent and Dove. I liked the first book, but subsequently, it's always like, you don't like the first second book. The second book is always like, falling flat, falling flat. But I don't know. The enemies to lovers market is very big. So I am just one person. Is working for a lot of people. So I can't say that it is bad. Some people like it, but I like the guy likes the girl, he has always liked the girl, but the girl does not know, and there's like a misunderstanding. She does not know that he actually already he has always been obsessed with her. I love that. That you see, even thinking about that, that makes me feel good. I don't like where the guy hates the girl. It's too close to reality. It's too close. Like I don't like that. I don't like. It's like I'm watching a true crime documentary. I don't like it. Take me out. Take me out. Anyways, yeah. The last one on this cozy, funny or have fun list, whatever. It's not funny. Oh, Atlas Hunter is not a cozy read. Oh, it's a romantasy, basically. This also falls under the romantasy genre. Is Rain and Ruin. Rain and Ruin was also like an enemy to lovers, but I don't want to say they were even enemies because I feel like they fell in love with each other the moment they saw each other. The only way that you can maybe describe them as enemies is they kind of are from opposing countries, and the girl is like the princess because her dad is the king, and the guy is the prince because his brother is the king. So that's the only way they're like that you can be like maybe they're kind of enemies, but it was really they fell in love the moment they met each other. Like it was really that fast. They didn't act on it, yes, but because we could see, we could listen on both POVs. We knew that they were in love. They liked each other from the very onset, right? And one thing I loved about what this writer is doing is in the series, she's gonna be following two different main character love interests. Wow, that felt like a mouthful. What? Anyways, this book is like one and done with this two characters. So you can just read this. You don't need to continue the series, and you can if you want to. So in case you miss the world, you miss the universe, you can keep going, but you can just stop with this as well. I think I'm gonna stop with this. I don't know if I'm really like, oh, I need to continue the world, or I need to know what's gonna happen. I don't know. I don't know if that I'm that invested. I really don't know, but yeah, I might. Oh my god, did you hear that noise? What is going on? Like, please free me. Anyways, so yeah, I might go back into that universe. I don't know, but I like that they also gave me the chance. She gave me the choice to make that decision if I want to. So I'll definitely recommend if you like your book to be politic heavy, this book is for you because it was very politic heavy. I liken it to more like a Crow Prince. Yeah, because that had romance. In fact, this has more romance than a Crow Prince, in my opinion. But it just, I feel like you balanced it properly. Yeah, that's by the way. Let's move on. So yeah, this next one we're gonna talk about the just two books. This is under contemporary romance. The first one is Just for the Summer. Like when I'm talking about these two books I'm gonna mention, or I mentioned one already, is it made me feel like so good because I normally don't give contemporary romance 5 stars, but I gave these two books 5 stars because it was just that good. I had no complaint. And usually it's not like contemporary romance are not good. It's just a lot of times they are just palette cleansers. They do what they're supposed to do. They're entertaining. So usually they fall between 3 to 4 stars. But this two just, did more for me. The first one is Just for the Summer, obviously, and this was beautiful from start to finish. I always say, I remember finishing it, and I said that if someone asks me what love is to me, I'll tell them that they just need to read this book because the romance was so beautifully detailed. One thing I like about this author is she knows how to write characters that are so layered. Like, so you don't just have a male character that is just obsessed with the female character, or a female character that is just dumb. They have characters that have personality. They are very layered. They have if they have trauma, they have trauma attached to them as well, and that is explained, that is delved into, that every decision that each of this character make, you can understand why they would make those decisions based on the trauma that they have. As I personally resonated with the girl, see me resonating with everyone. My bad. Anyways, I personally resonated with the girl because I could see myself making a lot of the choices that she made. And I don't want to ruin the book for you guys, but I really loved it. If you want to know, I feel like if you want to know proper romance, if you want to know love, I feel like this is the book for you. This is what you should read. It was so beautiful, and I like that those traumas were not glazed over. They really were dealt with. I really loved it. I cannot recommend it enough. There's no one I've recommended this book to that has not absolutely loved it. So yeah, love. The next one is more also like more playful, but also I loved it as well. It's Play Along. Play Along was absolutely, I devoured that book. Well, I think I listened to the audio. Oh, yeah, and apparently it's the same guy that did the audio for, The Light Out and Blackbird and Butcher and Blackbird that did the audio for this as well, which is probably why I loved the audio. It was so good. It was so fun. I was like, oh my God. And what is weird is that usually I stay away from sports romance because I don't really like sports, obviously. But I know that this a series has been recommended, but I've never really been enticed to read it. But like I said, I like my mom being obsessed. So when I read the synopsis of it, I was like, oh, say less, I'm gonna read it. And I was like, wow, I loved it. It was so fun. The guy knew what he wanted, and he wanted and he stuck by it. What more can a girl ask for? I loved it. Absolutely loved it. I can't even complain. And it wasn't so heavy on the spot, because something can be sports romance, but you don't have to be telling me how they are playing the sport. I don't care. Which is which is so weird because I read a book after I read this by Anna Wong, I think, Striker, and that one was about like football, and it was very heavy in my opinion on the football, and I was like, I don't care. I don't care. And I said about the book, that book was actually very dry, but we're not yet to talk about that. Not me just saying that I don't want this channel to be negative. I'm talking about a book that I didn't like. Anyways, yeah, it wasn't heavy on the sport. It was more heavy on the romance, and I love that. I love that about the book. It was a fun time. If you want a fun, playful romance, you want a guy that knows what he wants, is obsessed with you from the very beginning. This is the book for you. And they were making like adult decisions. They had to make adult decisions. I like that. Having a job, not liking the job that you have. It was long distance relationship. No, I could go on and on. It was actually really good. Yeah, no complaints. Ah, we're almost there. We're almost to the end. Oh, guys, we have the last three. And under this three books that I'm about to talk about are like the the top books of like of the year. Like these three books, I don't know. I'm not ranking them in any way because I cannot. They are just like the top of the top. They are like so good. They were so good. I love them so much that I feel like I'll probably need to do a reread because they were just so good. Oh my god. Ugh. Anyway, let's just start. Um, we'll start with let's start. Any mini mini more. Let's do the Sword of Kaigen. Oh, guys, this book this book, I'm not gonna lie, I won't say that the moment I started reading the book, like I got into it. Absolutely not. It took me a while. It took me a while to get into it. I was just like, you know that thing I was talking about where you're stuck in one POV and this POV you don't really like this person. That's how I felt in the beginning. But the author switched us to a POV that I liked, which was like the woman. I love that POV. I always wanted to go into a POV. And as I kept reading, I didn't even mind the other POV, but I liked our own POV way more. And yeah, which is what I was saying. Having multiple POVs like really it does like justice to the book. And these three books I'm about to mention, or if you really like, world building, magic system, you like, fleshed out characters, you like, you're very overly critical. These are the books. These three books are for you, and you probably have read them. And I'm just here yapping. It is what it is. So yeah, Sword of Kaigen was beautiful. I almost not almost, I actually cried in like a part, which is crazy because like I said earlier, I don't like books that make me cry. But this was different. It was different. It was different. It wasn't just like you're what is that noise? It wasn't just that you're trying to torture me while reading. It was actually, you know, it actually makes sense to the story. Do you get it? I really liked it. It was really fun. I feel not fun. Well, it depends on what you find fun, you know. But it was really good. It was really really good, and it's just one. And what is going on with this noise? Anyways, it's just one and done story. I don't think she's going to continue the series. I don't know. She might. Who really knows? All these writers, they just shock you. So, but it was actually a one and done story. Now, the next one we have The Will of the Many. I spoke about The Will of the Many in my previous video where I talked about how this is one of those books that you're stuck in. Can we stop this noise? Ah, this is one of those videos that you see, you see. This is one of those books that you're stuck in one POV, but you don't mind the one POV that you're stuck in because you really love the character that you're stuck in their POV. Oh, that was like a long, a long line, but whatever. The book was so beautiful. I feel like everywhere people recommend it, so I don't know what else I need to tell you to read it if you've not read it, because that means you are stubborn. That means you're very stubborn, and there's nothing I can do to change it. I can't change you. I mean, you need to work on yourself then. Okay? Anyways, go read it. Okay. Now, the last book on this list. Guys, can you believe it? Can you believe it? Can you believe it that we are here? We are finally here. I'm not going to waste time. The last one on the list is Bam 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 Red Rising. Ah, guys, how do you want me to describe how much I love this book? I loved it so much, so much. Like, and it's also another book where I said that, like, when you're stuck in one POV that you like the character, you won't mind being stuck in their POV. And this is that book. This is literally that series. I was stuck in his POV, but I loved him. I loved everything about him. Like, I didn't mind. The story is just beautiful. The world building immaculate. The characters, I loved. Like, I didn't just like him. I loved a lot of the characters in the book, and the world basically. The how will I explain it? Because I feel like this book is everywhere. I can't wait for it to be turned into a movie, but I think I read somewhere that is working on it. I'm not sure. But yeah, it was actually really, really good. And you should go read it. Yeah. I'm not really gonna say much about that because I made it to the end and I'm already very tired. Like I'm so tired. You can't even imagine. Oh, I'm actually really done. Let's see. Let's see. Okay, we talked about The Bride by Julie Garwood, Kiss Me Annabelle, After Soul, Strange the Dreamer, The Unmaking of June Farrow, Bride by Ali Izzard, The Isles of the Gods, One for My Enemy, A Cruel Taste, The Alcinda, Rain and Ruin, Atlas Hunter, Butcher and Blackbird, the Mindfuck series, Just for the Summer, Play Along, Stealing Shadows, Red Rising, The Sword of Kaigen, The Will of the Many. So 20 books. Ah, guys, I'm so happy I got to do this again. You know me saying again because I really need to let you guys know that I had to record this twice. Twice. But you know, anything for content, right? 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 Like I'm smiling but crying within myself. Oh. Anyways, I hope to see you guys very soon. My book club, currently reading Switch by Sandra Brown, and I'm having such difficulty reading that book. And which is so weird because I love me Sandra Brown. I have like a bunch of hardcover, but this one I just can't. But I will, I will. I don't like. I think I like the twin that died. I like that one. I don't know. I don't know. I'll push through, Sha. I'll push through. Thank you guys for making it this far. If you made it this far, you're actually a real one, and I appreciate you. Please like, please comment, drop recommendations for me. I'm always open to read new books and, open to try new things. So please like, share, comment, subscribe, do the nitty gritty that YouTube demands. Thank you. Bye.